Hello, today we are going to be sharing about Camp Aggie Core Values, a program that we've developed. My name is Hannah Fallon.
I'm Carla Krupe.
I'm Kylie Rudder.
I'm Ashton Siptak.
And I'm Max Valadez.
So Camp Aggie Core Values, or more commonly referred to as Camp Aggie, is a program that we're going to present to you today. Just kind of give an overview of our program, how it's organized, and the impact that it has. So to start, let's talk about why Camp Aggie. Our ultimate goal here and our mission is to get the students of Bryan and College Station to go to college. So we're looking for students from all neighborhoods, whether it's South College Station suburbs or downtown Bryan, inner city. We are looking for all students there. And we want to encourage them and motivate them, give them the resources to apply to and attend college. That is not just Texas A&M University. That's the resource that we use here in town. But we want them to go to any college, any university. And we are committed to providing them with a fun weekend, with counselors that go to A&M and give them, again, those resources so that they can begin to navigate their future as they leave high school.
So our overview is this camp is a leadership camp, learning and applying what we as Aggies hold true, which is our core values. The context of this camp is a 3-day, 2-night camp at Carolina Creek in Walker County, Texas. This camp is designed and intended for 10 to 13-year-old kids of all mental and physical abilities, basically 5th to 8th graders. And our description is that our camp is a camp that wants to help kids excel, and by providing guest speakers, which we will have yell leaders and other well-known names on campus, and activities with their designated groups that will help them apply what they are learning in these speaker sessions.
All right, so now you're probably thinking, what are these kids going to do at Camp Aggie? So like we've mentioned, we're a 3-day, 2-night camp. So on Friday, obviously, we're going to have a lot of arrival stuff to deal with. We'll be checking kids in. First few hours that we have with the kids will be spent largely on getting them checked into their cabins, counselors establishing who's in their groups, making sure kids are ready for the rest of the day to come and the rest of the weekend to come. We'll do a couple of icebreaker games that evening so that campers can learn who's in their cabin, maybe learn some new people, make some new friends at camp. We'll go into the first couple of sessions of our activities. So for example, we have archery, we have the big blob in the middle of the lake that launches kids into the water. That's a lot of fun. And then that evening, we'll finish off with a neon-themed dance party that takes place after we do some capping competitions in the main arena. Moving on to Saturday, our first full day, we're going to have some sessions with the A&M Yell leaders. They'll be talking about core values and some of the things they do as students in college. During that day, we'll have a lot more time for more icebreakers, more time for activities that were really structured around teaching topics like trust to students and other things like focus to make sure that they learn that's what it takes to get to college. As we move on towards the evening, we'll actually have Miss Reveille coming in along with her handler to teach all of the kids the Aggie War Hymn and to just give a good talk about what it takes to go to college, and that'll be given by our main camp director. And then finally, some cabin competitions will take place throughout the day as campers are moving to and from activities. They'll be practicing the Texas A&M yells that we do on campus. Moving into Sunday, this is when we'll have our final little stretch of activities, and kids will be wrapping up their camp activities as well. Our final session, we'll actually hear from Dr. Chad Nelson, a professor in the Recreation, Parks, and Tourism Sciences Department at Texas A&M. He'll be talking about some of the things campers should have learned at camp, how they can take that into their lives going forward. And as we wrap up the day, we'll depart back for College Station, and staff will wrap up and kind of reflect on what we did throughout the weekend.
The purpose of a recognition model is to recognize positive learning behaviors that are going on within the camp while the participants are going through activities and competitions. So there's participation, progress towards personal goals, and standards of excellence. Throughout all of these, we'll be using competition, goal setting, excellence, the core values that will help us set goals and help us evaluate ourselves, as well as having small groups to discuss the goals that we have set. As fifth and eighth graders, I think it would be super important to evaluate those alongside them and teach them as they go and point out things that we see in them, to tell them that they can be proud of themselves and things that we see through them throughout learning at camp. There's also peer competition and cooperation. So the competition will do team building exercises and be able to relate those back to the core values of how we can become a better Aggie, a more responsible person, just and teach leadership skills through this competition and through small group discussions.
So who works for Camp Aggie? We have several staff positions, we have one full-time position, which is the program director. That is someone who works full-time organizing, getting funders for Camp Aggie. And the rest of these positions are just summer positions. We have the operations manager, the staff manager. Those are leadership positions, people who have worked for Camp Aggie before and know how it runs, and know how to manage the people under them. And then our healthcare manager is actually a registered nurse, so someone who can make sure everyone stays safe at the weekend of camp, both staff and campers. And then our work crew and counselors, that's our general staff. Those are college students that go to either Texas A&M or Blinn, and these really are students who want to be an example and make an impact on those 10 to 13-year-olds, those junior high students. And so all of our staff go through rigorous interview processes and background checks to ensure that we have the highest quality staff at Camp Aggie.
All right, so this is an excerpt from our anti-bullying policy. At Camp Aggie, we work together as a team to ensure that campers gain self-confidence, make new friends, and go home with great memories. So our Managing Risk and Youth Protection section is separated into 6 different parts. Our first one being culture of protection, which basically states how we run camp and who we are, and kind of just like the aura we want to create as a camp. When selecting volunteers, we hope to select individuals who have either worked in the camping industry before, or preferably fish camp students as well. Orientation and training. So we will have sessions before camp starts to train our staff. All our staff will be trained, and if they do not pass their training, they will not be able to work at camp. Program management discusses health safety, pool safety, fire, transportation, all that kind of stuff. And then crisis management, all our staff will be trained to address certain situations. If someone gets hurt, they'll know where to go, who to call. All of our staff will always have emergency contact information with them at all times. So, and then this is our marketing flyer. It has all the dates on there, the link to register the campers, the session dates, and our social media.
So ultimately, we want to assist or maybe even change the trajectory for some of these kids that will come through our camp. A lot of these kids come from the inner city, and they'll be the first generation in their family to go to college, and we want them to be excited or to know their options. And we also want to help learn or help teach them the importance of the core values that we, again, hold true as Aggies. Our ultimate goals are for them to start thinking about college, because a lot of these kids, it's not an option for them yet. And we also want to help implement what they've learned about the core values into their life outside of camp. And ultimately, we hope that one day that they will attend college, whether that be Texas A&M or another school. Thank you so much for listening.